Learning a new language is an exercise in trust, trusting the process, and letting go of the fear of making mistakes. A good story guides us on this journey. Today's narrative is about the art of letting go of control, and it is also an opportunity for you to improve your English in a relaxed and effective way. We are the architects of our lives. Armed with apps, spreadsheets, and calendars, we build perfect plans, convinced that we can manage every variable and predict every outcome. But what happens when life, with an ironic smile, reminds us that we don't control everything? What happens when the perfect storm forms on the horizon of our perfect plan? This is the story of Claire, an event producer who saw months of meticulous work threatened by the one thing she couldn't control: the weather. Claire was a maestro of logistics, an event producer whose reputation in New York was built on her meticulous attention to detail, and the outdoor art and music festival in Central Park was meant to be her masterpiece, the culmination of months of flawless planning where every vendor, every artist, and every permit was perfectly aligned. But 1 week before the big day, an enemy that wasn't on any of her spreadsheets appeared on the horizon. The weather forecast, once a promising blue sky, changed drastically. The new forecast called for a torrential storm exactly on the day and at the time of the festival. Panic was the first reaction, and the attempt to control the Claire went into a frantic crisis mode, her mind spinning faster than the predicted wind. She spent the next 48 hours in a spiral, trying to create dozens of complex and impractical contingency plans. As if she could, with enough willpower and spreadsheets, manage the atmosphere itself. She wasn't preparing for the rain. She was trying, with a desperate energy, to control every drop that hadn't even fallen yet. But while Claire's anxiety spread like a virus through the production team, there was one man who seemed immune. Leo, the seasoned head of the food trucks, moved about the site with a calm that bordered on philosophical. That while others ran around with clipboards and headsets, he checked the gas levels in his trucks and polished his counter. He was the anchor in the midst of the growing storm of panic. He found Claire in her production tent, which now looked more like a military command center. She was surrounded by weather maps, impossible to-do lists, and the carcass of an untouched sandwich. She didn't look like a producer in control. She looked like a general on the verge of a breakdown, losing a war against an invisible enemy. Leo placed a cup of coffee next to her, a simple gesture that made her lift her tired eyes. He looked at the complex papers, then at the gray sky outside, and then back at her with a gentle, amused smile. "You know, Claire," he said, his voice calm, "you're spending a lot of energy trying to tell the sky what to do." Then it spra, his observation irritated her. "But I have to have a plan for everything." "Leah," she vented, showing him her mountain of papers. "What if the tents flood? What if the sound equipment gets ruined?" He listened to her patiently and then delivered the core lesson with the simplicity of a family recipe. "Claire, we can't stop the rain from falling. We can only make sure our tacos have a good roof and stay delicious. Focus on the tacos." Claire fell silent, the simplicity of the metaphor disarming her. "In my world," he continued, "we prepare the best we can with the best ingredients. We check the gas, we sharpen the knives, then we open the window and trust that somehow things will work out." It's a Japanese concept, Nantoka Naru. That focus on the tacos, Trust that things will work themselves out. Leo's simple and profound advice was like a balm to Claire's exhausted mind, freeing her from the paralysis of control. She looked at her dozens of contingency plans, her attempt to manage the impossible, and did something her old self would never do. She tore them up. On a new sheet of paper, she wrote only 3 actions, 3 simple, controllable things she could do to prepare for the rain and ensure that her festival's tacos, the music, the food, and the safety were protected. The day of the festival arrived, and the sky kept its promise. The rain began to fall, lightly at first, then with the force of a storm. But where there once would have been panic, there was now a calm plan in action. The extra tents were erected, the rain ponchos distributed, and the sound systems protected. The team was no longer fighting the storm, they were preparing to dance with it. And then something magical happened. The rain didn't ruin the festival, it transformed it. People, instead of dispersing, huddled together under the large tents, turning the vast lawn into a series of intimate and vibrant living rooms. The bands, unable to use all their equipment, played acoustic sets, creating unique and memorable performances. The food trucks became warm and welcoming havens, their aromas mingling with the smell of wet earth. The shared adversity created a sense of community and joy that a perfectly sunny day never could have. The festival became a legendary success, not in spite of the rain, but because of it. The photos of people dancing in the mud with colorful raincoats went viral, and the event was praised for its soul and resilience. And in the midst of it all, Claire, completely soaked, but with a serene smile on her face, looked at the scene and understood the lesson in its entirety. The perfect event wasn't the one she had meticulously planned, but the one that happened when she had the courage to let go of control. Claire's journey and her festival in the rain teaches us the philosophy of Nantoka Naru. Life will inevitably send us storms. Our task is not to spend our energy trying to control every drop of rain, but to prepare our spirit, do our best with what we can control, and then trust that, somehow, things will work out, and perhaps, in a way we could never have planned. Her story is an invitation to look at our own lives and ask, what storm am I trying to control in vain? And more importantly, what are my tacos? What is the one thing I can do well, right here and now, and on which I should focus all my energy? If this story about the wisdom of letting go of control resonated with you, leave a comment below, like the video, so this message can find others who are anxious about their own weather forecasts. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that teach us to navigate life with more calm and confidence. Until next time, stop looking at the sky and focus on your tacos.